pull up those old documents, but not how to like drill down to see which one had that subject in it.
Yeah, because it just brings up like the 200 pages that are relative to that. Right.
Oh, I forgot to keep the gavel. I'm so
Hold
sorry.
on. Let's wait. Hold on. You need the gavel.
Sorry, meeting to order at 7 p.m. and welcome. For the audience here tonight, the City of Glendora utilizes a hybrid meeting format to allow for participation both in person and virtually. In consideration of others and the business conducted tonight, please silence your phones and any electronic devices and refrain from speaking unless recognized. If you are interested in speaking during the public comment, speaker cards are located in the lobby area and at the rear of the chamber. Please fill out a card and submit it to the recording administrator. For those participating via Zoom, please select the raise hand icon in Zoom before the close of the public comment period, and you will be recognized and unmuted. Again, this is a public meeting for the community of Glendora. We appreciate and respect your participation here this evening. Madam Deputy, will you please conduct the roll call?
Thank you, President Tolan. At this time, I'd like to make a quick announcement that Trustee Blum did submit a letter of resignation to the city clerk's office. So effective, I believe, last week, which means that she will not be in attendance this meeting, and her term would be ending in June. So we do have the newly appointed trustee that will be starting in July. So I will now take a roll call and request that each trustee respond with present when their name is called. Trustee Landman.
Present.
Trustee Flowers, I believe, is absent. Vice President Chu.
Present.
President Toland.
Present.
And 3 members are present. Thank you.
The closed session items. 1, threat to public services or facilities. A closed session will be held pursuant to Government Code 54957 regarding a possible threat to public services or facilities. Consultation with the city manager, city attorney, public works director, public works assistant director, administrative services director, library services manager, library management analyst, and library administrative assistant. At this time, I'd like to invite public comments regarding the closed session item only, if there are any.
Thank you. At this time, we've received no request via the public comments email to give comment on this item, and no request via the Zoom attendees to give comment.
Thank you. So I'd like to convene the meeting into closed session at 7:03 p.m. Okay, now that the closed session is adjourned, we reconvene the meeting back into open session at 8:21 PM. A closed session was held regarding certain public facilities, not a threat posed by violence, but a threat as defined by Government Code Section 54957. A privileged and confidential briefing was given. Options were discussed with the board. Questions were asked and answered, and no reportable action was taken. Next item, the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Landman.
Please stand. Put your hand on your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Trustee Landman. Now, reordering of and additions to the agenda. Does anyone wish to reorder or add to tonight's agenda? Seeing no one, we'll move on to the public comment period. Members of the public are invited to address the library board. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, speaking once, both on and off agenda items. All questions should be directed through the presiding officer. This is your time to speak uninterrupted. If you are in attendance, please fill out a speaker card and submit it to the recording administrator before the close of the public comment period. Once recognized, speakers should advance to the podium, state your name and subject matter which you wish to discuss. If you are participating via Zoom, select the raise hand icon in Zoom before the close of the public comment period. Once recognized, you will be unmuted, state your name and the subject matter you wish to discuss. Have we received any public comment cards? We have. Maggie Laura, on behalf of the Glendora Public Library Friends Foundation. Hi, Maggie. Good evening.
We appreciate the time to come and speak to you. As Executive Director of the Friends Foundation, I have the privilege of working with a team of 20 volunteers who make up the foundation board and are led by our executive officers, our President, Bo Gutzweiler, our Vice President, Joe Sina, our Secretary, Tom Hill, our Treasurer, Kathy Boyer, and of course, our Vice President of Fund Development, Laura Launchbaugh. Today, I'm here to honor them and to celebrate them and to invite you to join us in celebrating the Friend Foundation's recognition as Glendora's Chamber of Commerce's 2022 Nonprofit of the Year. I can hear the applause already. I know how to read the room, which will happen this Wednesday as part of the Chamber's installation and award ceremony. Our team is passionate about serving the community and supporting our amazing library through fundraising activities, developing business partnerships, and creating initiatives that inspire people to volunteer and to give in support of the library and to give locally. The success of our efforts have only been accomplished in partnership with the library, city leadership, and of course, with the continued support of each of you. As part of our continued efforts, I want to personally invite you to and the community to support and attend our upcoming fundraising gala, Night on the Plaza's Margaritaville, which will be held on July 16th. We're back on the plaza in person and live with the amazing evening filled with fabulous food, unique auction items. We've got a private movie showing at a local AMC. We have Jimmy Buffett tickets, Josh Groban tickets, trips to Hawaii, and of course, our exclusive wine from a private collector. We really want to encourage the community to come out to join your friends and family in support of the library. It really will be the event of the summer. We love celebrating the library, but more importantly, we look forward to working with each of you as we continue the good work and supporting really the city's gem, our Glendora Public Library. Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie, and congratulations. Would any of the other trustees like to say something?
Yes, we're super excited that you guys got that prestigious award for the city, and we are very grateful for all of the help that you guys do to help us in the library.
And I wanted to congratulate the Friends Foundation for the honor this Wednesday. And so I'm looking forward to attending and seeing everybody, but congratulations. You guys do an amazing job. Thank you.
Yep, I'll be there to support as well.
Me too.
Very good. Thank you, Maggie. Madam Deputy Clerk, have any other public comments been received?
Thank you. We've received no other comments via the Zoom participants and none via the email.
Right, then we shall close the public comment period. Next agenda item, board statements and reports. Do any of the trustees have any reports or announcements to make tonight?
Yeah, so we have a couple of announcements / reports. Me and Erica attended the Serving with a Purpose conference, which was amazing. This was the first time both of us or any one of us on the board within the past few years have gone. And I was just amazed by meeting all of these different people from different cities, trustees to Friends Foundation to even library staff and other library directors. I got a lot of great ideas that I think I will report back next month's meeting. But yes, lots of exciting ideas in terms of how do we get our library to have their own social media channel? How do we get board recruitment going, as well as mobile libraries that a lot of libraries are doing in our neighboring towns, which all sound like awesome ideas. And I really hope that we can find a way to start talking about those ideas as well. And then me and Erica also went to the grant meeting for the Friends Foundation, if you want to speak about that or add on to the conference. Oh, okay. I went to that. We went over all of the grant proposals. No decisions were made at that meeting, but the foundation seemed very receptive to the proposals that the library had presented to them. A lot of great things in the works in terms of getting more mobile components for the library.
And I had spoken to Maggie after because I wasn't able to attend. She said that I could still look over everything and suggest, so we'll hear more about the grants
Exciting.
later at the June meeting. So I think she said, well, maybe she meant July.
Yeah, maybe
So-
July. Yeah,
Or
yeah.
I heard June and it was July. And the Serving with Purpose conference was awesome. I loved hearing more about the mobile libraries. That was a big discussion. That was a very powerful discussion, how the library was truly going out into the bowels of the community. And also, honestly, I was shocked. Everybody knew Janet. And I was like, every time I turned around, somebody's all, oh, you know Janet. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was awesome. So you're like a legend, you know? So I was very, very impressed. And then also, it was great to hear George Lucas speak. So first of all, I was intrigued by his name, but then second by what he was talking about, that there were opportunities for libraries throughout the state for different grant opportunities. So that was great.
And to add to that, it seemed as soon as people found out that the city of Glendora was there and had a presence, we had like literally a line of people come to us and we're like, oh, do you know so-and-so? Or we used to be residents of Glendora. Oh, we love the library there. And so that was very heartwarming for me because it shows that all these other towns in California, NorCal, in Central and SoCal, everyone seems to like know of Glendora, which is awesome.
We know how special it is. It's nice to hear it, though. Okay, thank you for those reports. Yeah. Next agenda item, please. Director and attorney statements, reports of the library director and library divisions. Director Stone?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. As usual, there is a report in your packet, which is available online to everyone. So I just have a few quick updates to go with that written report. First of all, I'm happy to say that 3 of us from the administration management team are also going to the event on Wednesday to celebrate the Friends Foundation. And we are so grateful for all they do and so proud of them for being the awardee this year. The next thing I'd like to do is turn things briefly over to our library services manager, Cindy Romero, and have her talk a little bit about the Summer Discovery Challenge.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to give you a quick update on the Discovery Challenge. So it started on June 13th, and as of 5 o'clock this evening, we had 1,040 participants already registered. So it is shaping up to be quite a summer, and that is participants of all ages. So our very tiny infants all the way up through adults and some city staff doing a slightly separate challenge, but city staff are included, just helping that camaraderie there. So far, we've got 2,300 hours reported read. So we know that a lot of people read and they just don't fill it in on the computer, you know, as they're reading, but we've had 2,300 hours that have already been reported and over 700 activities completed. So as you may remember, the Summer Discovery Challenge is about so much more than reading, because we believe the summer, while reading is important, the summer is about exploring and discovering and finding new things. And those activity badges are really the heart of that piece of the Discovery Challenge, encouraging people to find a new hobby or to try out a new author or go do something they've never done before. So there's those pieces are also being completed as well. So we're super excited about that. We have had several programs already started. Our adult program had a murder mystery dinner theater last Thursday night. That was filled up. We had 33 participants in that, enjoying that show from a local group. And some more programs coming this week. We have Novel Idea, Camping Essentials. We'll be entertained by the magic of Magic Wayne. And then a Marvel trivia event on Friday that is actually being put together by our youth advisory board. So the trivia itself is just going to be a lot of fun, but I think the heart of that program is that one is actually being developed by those teens. So we're excited for that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. To do something.
Oh, wait, I forgot after hours this week. So we also have the teen after hours this week. It's a busy week for us. So that's when the teens will come and kind of explore the library after we close. It's a lot of fun. They eat pizza.
Is that the spend the night?
No, we don't do that.
Oh, okay.
No, this is they come and really they explore the library a little bit. They just play games. It's a way for the teens to connect with each other and also with our staff, so that when they do need to come to the library for their school research or for whatever, they've already got some of those personal connections with the staff. And it's just a great way for those teens to connect with each other and have a good time at the library.
Thank you. Let us know if there's anything else.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cindy. Let's see, other things that have happened last Tuesday. As you know, we are in the middle of a 2-year budget cycle. So what we call the mid-cycle budget went to council last week and was passed. As you know, it's pretty much status quo for the library. One of the things that we had planned to ask for, and we are delighted to find out that Information Services, otherwise known as IT, was ready to provide us this fiscal year, were some replacements for public computers. The computer center at the library. We do not have a need for as many, so we asked for fewer, but those did arrive. We heard just last Friday. So late breaking news, they will be scheduling the installation for those soon once they get them imaged. I just wanted to say a special shout out to our full-time senior library technician, one of them, Kurt Galley, who we're proud to say, bittersweet, is moving on in his career, has found a great new opportunity somewhere else. And as a small institution, that's what we expect and we're proud of, even if it's hard to see them go. We know they'll be serving their communities really, really well as they head outward. So congratulations to Kurt. I know there's some interest in the whole shirt conversation, so I will turn it at this point over to Administrative Assistant Gabby Thompson.
So it was brought up that the board wanted their own shirts and to kind of build some camaraderie and team effort. And so I'm proud to report that your shirts are basically like one detail away from being delivered. I was hoping to have them today, but we're so close. And so I'm going to have Cindy model.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So you're basically going to get the gray polo type library shirt, and then it's going to have the city logo, and it's going to have the Board of Library Trustees under it. So I'm excited. I really wanted to give it to you guys today, but next time I see you guys, I'm excited to report.
Thank you for all your work on that, coordinating all of those proofs and everything. Really appreciate it. And finally, there's a couple of months worth of statistics summaries because I inadvertently left it off last month. So they're both in there this time. And I'm going to ask Elke to give you a few observations about the statistics summary. This is our management analyst, Elke Cathell.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for letting me speak. So as Janet already mentioned, we accidentally omitted the April summary statistic sheet last month. So you will have both April and May in your board packet this time. Unfortunately, as I was reviewing the statistics just today, so I could give Janet some highlights, I noticed there were a couple of errors. And so I wanted to report on those errors to make sure that that you get the correct information. One of the errors that I discovered was on if you look on your summary sheet, the total on-site event attendance. So for last year, for last May, in your statistics sheet, we show the number of 994. And unfortunately, that was not correct. Last year's number was actually 278, which is great for us because that means we actually have a 97% increase over last May. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that one for sure. The other one that unfortunately was also incorrect was the total offsite event attendance. And that one went down from what in your stat sheet, it showed 359 and it's actually 98. So it is not as low, the difference is not as bad as it looks in your summary statistics sheet, but we do see a 70% decrease over this year. And that has to do with the fact that we did a lot of specific outreach last year, and which we didn't do this month. For May of last year compared to May of this year. So I just wanted to point that out. Also, you will see that our social media numbers, unfortunately, are a little bit lower than we would like to. We do have, as our digital media specialist reports, a corruption issue between the city website and Twitter, and those numbers are reflective of that issue. So I just wanted to point that out. Happy to answer any other questions if you have any for me. Other than that, our numbers do look good. We do see a steady increase. We are not back to pre-COVID numbers yet, but you know, as I'm reviewing them every month, we do see a steady increase. So we are very pleased with that. Hopefully, maybe within the next 4 or 5 months, we'll be back. I'm hoping. We'll see. Do you have any other questions for me or?
Comment, question, kind of. Comment. I love seeing the increase in the number of people coming back to the library. And I do also agree with you that with the summer discovery challenge, we'll likely see that numbers will go back to normal, with more people wanting to come back out to the library and do events. And I do like that you did touch upon the social media decrease. To me, this number always stands out every single month that we see the stats report, just because it's one of the largest decrease. In largest percentage change. And so hopefully in the near future, we can talk more about that. How can we get those numbers to go up? How can we see a more number of posts for the libraries, particularly because we have a lot more events going on now that it's the Summer Discovery Challenge. So we should see that this number should be going up and should be reflective of the number of events that we have at the library.
Yeah. That number, we actually work on that constantly with our digital media specialist, and we do what we can. Bandwidth on our end does affect that sometimes. And also the digital media specialist has to focus on what to post and what has priority. And of course, with the water shortage right now, so he has to juggle a lot of different things. So we are constantly working with him. It's something that we're always looking at. We do want to make sure that all the great things that we offer and the great programs that we have, that the public is aware of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally understandable, but still would like a conversation about that in the near future with him.
Thank you.
I just want to piggyback on that. We will be inviting Greg to come when the city's communications plan has been formed. So that'll be a great time to have some of that conversation. And also just a comment that when there are sort of technological and or algorithmic issues or whatever, sometimes we, no matter how many posts we make, we can't make up those kinds of differences because the drop is not reflective necessarily of our engagement. And also I can hear Greg in my head. I hope I do him justice here, which is one of the reasons we talk about the number of people reached rather than the number of posts. Is it's not so much about posting and posting and posting. It's about posting so that we engage the most people and it has the biggest reach. And he is constantly like balancing how to make that happen so that we don't overpost and then not get exposed in people's feeds. So I hope I did you justice there, Greg. Anyway, thank you for continually cheerleading for that aspect of library services and exposure. And we're happy to answer questions about any part of the evening's reports.
Any of the trustees have any questions? Comments?
I just have a comment. I absolutely love the theme for the summer discovery. That's so cool. It's go beyond the beaten path. It's brilliant. So I just wanted to comment.
Oh, thank you. We adopted that from sort of a larger summer reading effort that we did not come up with that one, but we are happy to say that we did adopt it. So thank you.
Next agenda item, please. Special items, appreciation of for the service of outgoing trustees. Director Stone. Oh, actually, if you don't mind, I'll take this one. Yes, thank you. Trustee Doris Blum, it is my honor and fitting on this observation today of Juneteenth to acknowledge Trustee Doris Blum for her steadfast dedication to our city in education and in inclusion over the past several decades. She's been quite an inspiration, I think, to all of us, right? For her commitment to our city. So thank you, Trustee Blum, for your service. Would any of the other trustees like to say anything?
So it was an honor to be able to serve with her briefly, but she's very wise and full of knowledge about the library. So I was very impressed with her dedication.
I'd also like to echo what Tomoko and Erica said about Doris. I remember seeing her on the boards and around town when I was in school, throughout high school and middle school. So she is definitely someone that everyone knows, and she definitely did have a lot of knowledge that she passed down on to all of us. And so I did also find it a pleasure to serve with her the past 3 years.
Thank you. Next agenda item, please. Special items available 24/7 wherever you are. Demonstration of new electronic services and resources. Director Stone.
Actually, I'm going to turn this one directly over to Library Services Manager Cindy Romero. Thank you, Cindy.
Good evening again. I'm going to share my screen if I may. Sorry that I ran out. I needed to run back to my office so that I can Zoom so that everyone can share the screen. So my apologies for running out partway through that last agenda item. Let's find. So can we see the screen that says Glendora eLibrary? Yes. Yes, we're looking like a thumbs up. Okay. So based on some of our community needs and things that have been made available recently from some of our online vendors, there are some new online resources that are available through the library. So we're just going to take a quick walk through some of them so that you can see some of what's available. So the first thing that is coming online, so really we're going to try and look at this a little bit differently as far as less about what it is and more about who might benefit from the resources that are here. So if there's a traveler, a business traveler, or some pleasure traveler that's getting ready to go to a new place and wants to study a new language, or someone that just wants to gain some personal enrichment through learning another language, engage their brains in a different way. But where do you go to learn a new language? The library might have something for you. So the Glendora eLibrary page is where we're going to start. So again, glendoralibrary.org, and then click on the eLibrary. So Train and Learn is where we are going to be. This new resource is called Pronunciator. So just like you would pronounce something, it's Pronunciator, and you will need your library card number. You can also register so that you can keep whatever progress you've made in your sessions. Pronunciator does include 164 different languages that you can learn. Some of those are dialects and some of those are completely different languages. That does include several different versions of Spanish. So Latin American Spanish, Mexican Spanish, Castilian Spanish. So lots of different variations there. Also includes American Sign Language. So you can select a language. Here are a bunch of the ones that we're going to see. I'm just going to pick Japanese because it's a personal favorite. And some of the things that you'll see, you can pick daily lessons, main courses that have drills, quizzes, audio lessons, movies, music, and more, learning guides, and more. So this does include lessons for early learners. So if you've got children that you want to get started on a language early, some of the languages do include that. Travel prep, beginners courses, advanced courses, and there are courses for people in different industries. So there are courses for Japanese, there's one for healthcare. There's other languages have courses for those people working in restaurants or in business. So you can tailor your learning to what those needs are that you have. One other thing that is unique to Pronunciator is the language that you start in. Many of the online courses, you have to go through English. So if you speak Spanish and you want to learn Japanese, for many of the online courses, you'd have to pass through English to get there. Pronunciator has something a little bit different where you can start in a different language. We're just going to pick a random one. And then you can pick the language that you want to learn. Of course, I don't understand any of these. And that way you don't have to pass through English in order to get there. So that does make it a little bit easier for our language learners. So those are for the people that are looking to learn a new language. What about people that are looking for something to do, something new to learn? They're looking for a new hobby, or they're looking for a way to explore music. Well, Libby might have some things for you. So under our download and stream, we're going to go to Overdrive. This is also available as an app through Libby. So if you search in your app store, Libby, you will come to here. These three little hamburger menu at the bottom. You would add a library. It knows where I am. So we are going to pick Glendora. Sorry about that. I thought I had signed in and I was in a different browser. So a couple of the new things that we have are down here. So if you're looking for a new hobby, you're looking for, maybe you're already a beginning knitter and you want to learn how to do some new stitches. You can cook a little bit, but you want to learn how to decorate cakes. Craftsy is the place to be. This is 1,400 in-depth instructional videos covering 20 different creative passions. So we'll open up into a new website. All of these that you're going to see now say get a 7-day pass. They are a pay-per-use model, so we pay for them when someone uses them. So this one has, like I said, 20 different kinds of courses that you can do, that you can take basic instruction through advanced instruction, quilting, sewing, cake decorating, painting, all different creative explorations. So that is Craftsy. We also have 2 different concerts. So for people that want to have a cultural experience without leaving their home, people that are looking for music enthusiasts and want to see the 5 piano guys in concert, or they want to see Rafi if they're working in a preschool and they want to see Rafi in concert. Commercial-free concerts are available through the library, either with Classica, which is going to be classical music, operas, ballets from around the world. Different 1,000 different concerts are currently available in languages English, French, and Dutch. And then Quello is there is some more contemporary music, but also some more classical music as well. Concert films, documentaries, all streamed live through major partners. And both of these are available, again, commercial free. So if there's a music student that wants to see how a concert plays out, they want to see a classic historical concert, this is a place to go. One more thing, so if you're getting ready to plan an estate sale, maybe you've just inherited some antiques, or you want to clean up your house just because you decided you want to clean things up, but you're really not sure how much things are worth. Covell's Antiques and Collectibles is the place to go. So this will have price guides, identification guides, buying and selling, newsletters. It'll have the different marks for different makers of china and things like that. Different articles. So if you'd like to know what the etiquette is of a antiques fair or of an estate sale, this is the place to go. Now, all of these things that I'm mentioning are available thanks to the generosity of the Friends Foundation and, of course, the partnership with the library. So available to the public for no additional cost from the library, the Friends Foundation, and of course, donors out in the community. So those are the new items that we have available. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
These are awesome. I do have one quick question. Do we have anything in display in the library? I was walking around today and I'm not sure if I saw any where we showcase these applications or tools that
We're
they can
working
use
on it
online.
right now.
Got it.
And there is, so during the Discovery Zone, as part of the Summer Discovery Challenge, we have been playing concerts from Quello. We do have, along with the concerts are the public performance rights, so we're able to show those for public viewing. And so we've had concerts in the background and a slide up on the screen saying, today's music is brought to you by Quello.
Is this available on the app?
So this is available through the app, absolutely. Most of the things that we have here are available through Libby. So you pass through our app to get to the Libby app. Pronunciator is really brand spanking new. We have put in a ticket with the app to add it, but it has not been added yet.
Great, thank you. Trustee Landman? Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you very much.
That's very exciting. I'm very impressed with the pronunciator one. That's cool.
Thank you, Library Services Manager Romero.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next agenda item, please. A report from the City of Glendora Transportation Manager, Stephen Mateer. Thank you very much for your patience tonight.
Oh, no worries. No, not the longest meeting I've been to at all.
Thank you.
And I want to say, I'm really impressed that Cindy made it from here to her office because I don't think I can move that fast. So very impressive. Yeah, so thank you, Madam President. My name is Stephen Mateer. I am the Transportation Manager for the City of Glendora. And tonight I wanted to talk to you about two of our major projects that are coming up. One of which you've seen in the village right now on Mita Avenue, and then one is our bike and pedestrian plans and projects that are coming forward. Next slide, please. So just as a little bit of background for those who may not be familiar, our division, we operate our dial ride and fixed route transit service. So that includes for seniors and persons with disabilities, and the Gold Line shuttle, as well as the midday shuttle, which carries students to the library, to the teen center, and home. We do bicycle pedestrian planning and programs, travel training for seniors. We do our employee alternative commute program, so pay people not to drive or to carpool. And we also do regional coordination and compliance. So we meet with the Gold Line Authority, with Metro, SCAG, all the different bodies that influence transportation in the city. Next slide. So these are the projects I want to talk about. I think most of you are probably familiar with the urban trails. We have the existing 1 mile along the Louis Pompey Park. That started back in 2011. And in addition to that, we've also been working on first last mile plan, which I'll get into what that is as part of the Gold Line. And as a result, we've merged these two into what we're calling a people movement project. And that really came out of an opportunity to apply for a federal earmark. And really it's been able to now really tell a unified story about what the project's working on. Next slide. So as the urban trail system, these are fully separated bicycle and pedestrian paths along our flood control channels. They are planned along the 3 channels we have. So the San Dimas Wash, Big Dalton, and Little Dalton washes. Right now, we're in the middle of design on phase 2 and 3 for the San Dimas Wash. Actually, we just kicked off last month. We did our field walk last week, and we'll be having a workshop on July 30th. So I'll make sure that information goes out. So really exciting to get going on this. This is a really marquee project and something we're really excited to deliver. Next slide. As I mentioned, our first last mile program, what first last mile refers to how someone, when they leave their house, can they easily get to the train station or the bus stop, or once they're off transit, are they able to find where their doctor's office is, their job, their school, wherever they're going. Oftentimes it's the first and the last part, which is what deters people from getting on a bus or train. So really trying to address that and make it as comfortable and safe as possible. Next slide. So the long-term goals that we have with this is connect the station to the village. For those who may not know, the Glendora station is actually behind those townhomes. So if you've never been to Glendora, it may not be apparent where anything is when you get off the station. So really that's something we want to make sure there's this intuitive connection between a major transit investment with the great things that are in our village. To improve road safety, we know from Metro surveys, from the Gold Line studies, from our own research is that there will be a lot more people walking and biking to the station, actually far more than drive. So improving road safety is important, not just for bicycles and pedestrians, but also for motorists, so that it's very clear where to drive so that we reduce conflict where we can. And lastly is to support economic development. The energy the Gold Line brings in a lot more people, a lot more opportunities for new restaurants, new shops, things like that. So really help making sure that we're catalyzing on the energy that's coming in. Next slide, please. So really there's 2 core corridors that we're focused on. One is Glendora Avenue and the other is Foothill Boulevard. In both cases, I want to be very clear, there are going to be lane reductions on these streets. In the case of Foothill, it's really more of a standardization because for the most part, Foothill from Amelia to about Vista Bonita is 1 lane each direction. Then it does this kind of accordion where it goes 2 to 1, so we want to make it a consistent one lane each direction corridor with a bike lane and pedestrian improvements like crossing enhancements, that kind of thing. Glendora Avenue is a rather irregular configuration with 2 northbound lanes and 1 very, very wide southbound lane, which in talking to businesses there, we've noticed there's a lot of people that drive through the parking on the southbound side, attempting to get into the post office or jump up ahead into the stop sign. So really, we have a lot of right of way to work with here. And so what we're proposing here is a protected bicycle lane, a raised protected bicycle lane, which would be the first in the San Gabriel Valley, as well as what's called a Dutch or protected intersection. Again, would be the first to have something like this. And I'll show you what those look like as we move further down. Next slide, please. So this is at Ada and the post office on Glendora Avenue. Next slide. And this is with the roundabout. So we proposed a roundabout here, which is in our Route 66 specific plan. And when we showed this to the community, I was actually surprised we did not get more pushback on this, because roundabouts are not always the most popular. But people really understood that this is that kind of middle ground between some intersections too busy for a stop sign, but not busy enough for a traffic signal. And really this gives us an opportunity to do more landscaping and do more enhanced pedestrian safety. And I can attest personally walking through here, it's very dangerous trying to drop off a letter with people not stopping fully at this intersection. Next slide. This is at the Equine Insurance. This is looking southbound on Glendora Avenue. Next slide. And this is with some of the economic development we talked about with more outdoor dining potentially. You'll see on the left there, that's the raised protected bike lane. So the bike lane is at the height of the sidewalk. We're maintaining angled parking, so there's no parking reduction at all. The nice thing about Glendora Avenue, it's so wide, you can add these things in and really not impact traffic or parking at all. And you see some of that signage and wayfinding that we'll be adding as well. Next slide. This is at Carroll and Glendora Avenue. Next slide. And this is recognizing that this is a very dangerous crossing. When we did our demonstration bike lane about a year ago now, we noticed that there were a lot more people who felt comfortable crossing here. And that was because we narrowed the crossing distance. We did what's called a curb extension. And that also allowed people to easily get across. You see that raised protected bike lane again. And on the left side, we'll have some opportunities for some place making like bike parking or a kind of a lounge area perhaps. Next slide. This is at Foothill and Glendora right now. And next slide. And this is that Dutch or protected intersection that you see. And the benefit is that it keeps the bicyclists to the side. So that way there isn't a conflict of a bicyclist attempting to move over to the left lane for a left turn. It also avoids a weave for a vehicle making a right-hand turn. So it keeps everyone in their lane. It improves sight lines and allows better movement through the intersection. Next slide, please. And this is looking at Foothill. So this is as it is. Well, this was before it had the bridge and the temporary closures. So next slide. And this is with the flyover or the bridge going over. And this is a more of a standard bike lane with some landscaping treatments that you see here. Next slide. This is a little further looking towards Vista Bonita. Next slide. And again, this is with the a buffered bike lane. We're maintaining street parking, adding a center turn median for access to businesses. So this kind of gives you an idea of how someone could go from the village to Citrus College, and vice versa. Next slide. So what does that mean together when we say people movement? Well, this is a $21 million investment in a transportation for the city. It's about a little over 10 miles. And as I mentioned, we've been able to tell a really good story, and we're able to secure $6.6 million from the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments to support this. We have about $1.5 million in city's transportation money to advance this. However, it does not add to $21 million. So we had to go through a priority setting process with council. Next slide. We gave council 4 options, and council selected scenario 1, which includes delivering the Glendora Avenue project, Little Dalton Wash Urban Trail, and completing the San Dimas Wash Trail. That requires an additional $1.8 million, which we're actively pursuing right now, and also for a total cost of $10.3 million. And that's where I mentioned, we started our design, so we've issued engineering contract for the San Dimas Wash. So hopefully that'll be done within about a year, and then we'll proceed to construction once we're ready for that. Next slide, please. This is the one I think everyone is probably the most familiar with just because it's so visible. We have been working a lot in the village lately, particularly on the Mita Avenue Plaza, as well as the bus plaza. Next slide. And the focus here was to have plazas that had kind of a somewhat unique identity to each other, recognizing that these are 3 different spaces. So on the West Mita side, we were thinking this would be more of a game area. So with like ping pong, mini golf, cornhole, chess, and then have some of the kind of communal seating so that I know I heard today Frisella's might be sold or was sold, or there might be change of ownership. So we'll have to see what the new owner is, if they're interested in this. But looking at having some more outdoor dining or recreation area here. And on the bottom there, you'll see we have a painted pattern on the floor to give a little more interest than just kind of your standard street. Next slide. This is for East Mita Avenue. So this would be adding in cafe seating, fire pits, which we're trying to figure out how we're going to run gas line to that, which will be interesting. And we're still playing with the position of some of this stuff. So I don't want, this is not set in stone. This is really just kind of our high level concepts. The idea here is this would be more of a lounge or kind of a living room area. That center area, we would also entertain, having games there. And then we have additional bike parking, as you see number 19 on the presentation there. Next slide. And for the bus plaza, we want to recognize that this is really the central park for the village, and it's also the main community event space. So we wanted to really catalyze on that by bringing a lot of more visual cues for people to look into here, and to set it up for more events. So it does not show well in this picture, and I apologize. But right in the middle there, we actually have stacked cube. It'll form like kind of a stage area. So again, performances, concerts, also kids can climb on it. My 5-year-old loves climbing on things. So this will be something really fun for him to do. One thing I'm really excited about is a balloon canopy. One thing we've heard talking to the businesses that no one looks into this area. So I think giving in these translucent balloons that, hang off of like string lighting poles almost, that'll bring in some visual interest and provide a really kind of unique shade pattern on the plaza floor. And on the periphery, we'll be adding in string lighting and some cafe seating. So people can bring in their coffee or, bring their lunch and, kind of have a nice place to have lunch here. Next slide. And I know that was a lot, and those are really big projects. So I really thank you all for the opportunity to present on this. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Hi. So the balloon canopy, it's permanent balloons. Obviously, it's not going to be like balloons that are always blown back up, right? So
yeah,
it's
they're
like
they're like weather balloons, like they're weather balloons. So they last about 9 months. So our thought would be we put them up after the holiday. And that way they last, you have like a community event where people can blow up the balloons. They last until maybe about October, take them down in time for the Christmas tree lighting. And then we put them back up right after that. So.
Cool. And I totally love the ideas of the Mita Plaza. That's awesome. I have a question. How or where do the flood control channels connect? Do they connect like the San Dimas wash down on Gladstone area? Will that somehow work its way back up to connect to a wash to reach the village?
Yeah, that's definitely on our long term is look at Glendora Avenue is kind of that, spine that would connect all the 3 flood control channels together. Right now we looked at just what we could reasonably fund within the kind of 5-year period that's coincides with the Gold Line opening up. But no, I agree completely. If you look at the first last mile plan that Metro prepared, we have a bike lane on Glendora Avenue to link all those channels. Because I agree, we need to make sure there's connection, throughout the city.
Because the urban trails are awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Oh
cool.
yeah.
And so people actually like the roundabout. They didn't.
I was as shocked as anyone, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will. I guess we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Of course.
Thank you for presenting that. One question is, when you guys start construction alongside the library, will that affect people entering into the library, into the parking lot? Any plans?
Yeah, so that's an excellent question. There might be temporary closures just because of the amount of work that's been going on. I mean, we're not far enough along to know exactly what we're building yet. Those are just kind of the concept plans that we have. When we go through our formal design process, that's when we'll identify construction schedules, impacts, and and that kind of thing. And of course, we'll work with Janet on making sure we minimize impact as much as possible.
I just have a couple questions. All of your proposed slides, all of the roads were newly paved. Is that part of the budget?
I can't speak for Public Works, but
Right.
it would be ideal if we could do them at the same time. Yes.
Okay. And the other question I had was, are there going to be public restrooms in those areas where there would be Jenga and ping pong tables and
Oh,
that sort of
on
thing.
Mita, out in the Mita Avenue
Mita,
Plaza.
mhm,
You know,
or
we
at the
do
bus
have the
stop.
public restroom in the bus plaza. I know it's
Yes.
been closed for a while, so you know, that's something we will want to look at as we have more people here.
Yeah,
For Mita, I don't think we're adding any public restrooms at this time.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And Brianna made me curious regarding, do you know possibly about when construction would be taking place in front of the library? You know, for the,
Yeah.
or the lanes or?
So we're waiting on our funding agreement from the Council of Governments before we proceed. So that hopefully we get that by August. And then we would do, sorry, it's probably be way in the weeds, but we would go through a procurement process for a design firm. You know, design can take anywhere from 9 months to a year, depending on permitting and, you know, public outreach. So I would say, you know, 2 to 3 years is probably, you know, at least to finish the project. So that our goal is to have Glendora Avenue done by the time the Gold Line's ready and operational. So 2025 is kind of my target.
That's all very exciting. Yeah, thank you for
Yeah,
the
thank
visual
you.
slides.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
That's exciting. Trustee Chu, Trustee Landman, do you have anything else? No.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to present. I
Thank
really
you very
appreciate it. Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Okay, next agenda item, the consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar will be enacted by one motion without individual discussion unless a board member has requested it to be removed for separate discussion. Does anyone wish to pull or comment on any of the consent calendar items? No? Okay, if that's the case, then may I request a motion to approve as presented?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Can you use the on-base voting to?
Here we go.
There,
Switching
we're gonna
back.
Switch back to on-base.
So Erica, you gonna push move?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'll push second.
Thank you. That is a motion by Trustee Landman, a second by Vice President Chu. I'll request a vote. And I will do a roll call vote. Trustee Landman,
Aye.
thank you. Vice President Chu
Aye.
and President Tolan.
Aye.
And that carries 3-0-2.
Thank you. Next item, discussion of the 50th anniversary of the current facility for the Glendora Public Library as requested by Trustees Landman and Chu. Director Stone, would you please give us your report?
Happy to do so. Thank you. As we've been revisiting this each month for a while, so this is just our regular chance for an update. Next slide, please. A reminder of the goals. Couple I will highlight this evening include that because of this anniversary, we intend the community will learn about library projects to capture, preserve, and share the community's own resources of local history, among a few others here. Next slide, please. And also that the community will reconnect with community members, fellow volunteers, and staff that enrich their world of ideas over the last half century. Next slide, please. As we go along, there are several things that we are always keeping in mind: compliance with the Brown Act, cooperating together, the trustees with library management administration, other demands that happen to be placed on the city's media specialists, the different roles of official and unofficial messaging, and always trying to directly contribute to the goals that were listed earlier. Next slide, please. The Glendora Public Library Friends Foundation has generously granted us funds, and we have reapplied for the balance of them for next fiscal year. That process is still underway. We will update this budget slide after the close of the fiscal year and keep you updated about the new grant request that we are making. Next slide, please. And finally, this is our sort of flow chart illustration of the different components. As you know, we already had our ceremony on the plaza. We have a movie in the park coming up on July 8th. We had a presentation from the Historical Society on May 23rd about the architecture of Glendora. That was a busy week because right around in there, we also had a story stroll opened on May 21st, and on May 23rd, our expanded historical walking tour of Glendora opened on the web at the Clio.com and on the Clio app. And also we have done the first of our 3 indoor displays on the Glendora's past, present, and future. And we are ramping up for the fun facts at 1:40 release of our fortune cookies. I think that's going to happen on the 8th, right? At the Movies in the Park. So that's a quick overview of what's been happening and where we are. And I will turn it back over to the trustees for anything they would like to add, since you guys have been instrumental in making some of these bigger events happen. We thank you for all of your boot leather and great coordinative efforts, and delighted to hear from you about any updates you have and answer any questions that we can.
Trustee Landman, would you please update us on some of the events you're taking?
Okay, and then you'll talk about Fossilman's too. Did you? Okay, all right. So we did a site walk with community services and the Friends Foundation representative from Rotary. I can't remember, and library staff. And I think I have everybody there, but we went on the site walk. And so what we were checking out was possible placement for the in and out food trucks. So it's this huge hardcore diesel, this one means business, for the 400 in and out possible hamburgers, cheeseburgers, or grilled cheese options. So no French fries, but chips and stuff. And we're going to work on providing water and for patrons. Rotary's talking about selling sodas or popcorn, snack, licorice, whatever it is that they normally provide for the public. And we scouted out two possible locations for the Back to the Future Time Machine DeLorean. And the Time Machine DeLorean is going to actually be leaving at the beginning portion of Back to the Future when during the chase scene with the Libyans. And so it will light up, and it actually has like all the, it looks like it's traveling through time, with all the lights that pop up on the back. And so that will drive out. And going to have the Friends Foundation and as well as library staff handing out information about the app and different programs, probably the Clio walking tour too, possibly, or yeah. And let me see. Okay. And then the newest addition was Tomoko's Stroke of Genius, the Fossilman ice cream.
Okay. Thank you to the Rotary for allowing us to be part of this event. It's going to be fun. So like she was saying, there's going to be the In-N-Out truck, and we'll also have some ice cream from the ice cream shop here on Glendora Avenue. These events, the library events, will take place prior to the Rotary and the movie event. So we'll be there probably about 5:30 to set up for the food and have some of these festivities prior to Rotary taking over and doing their event for the movie night.
And the event in general starts approximately at 5:30, and then sometime around 8-ish, the movie will start. So it's just when it's dark enough. And the movie will take place at the bandshell, and people will be able to sit on the grass. So it's going to be a fun event. And I hope everybody tells a friend so we don't have extra In-N-Out burgers. It's all complimentary. And Rotary is doing their fundraiser, but the rest of it's complimentary. And it's just a way for the library to give back to the community after the community has been such strong supporters of the library. Just a way to say thank you and bring attention to the 50th celebration at 140 South Glendora. So thanks.
And we'll have signage that will, okay.
And we're so grateful to the Friends Foundation for providing those funds that enable us to sort of make that gift, as you said, to the community. So
And I'm so happy that the Friends Foundation is going to be there. Maggie helped with, come up with different ideas along the way, and this is great for the Friends Foundation and the library to be seen out in the public, and Rotary to get attention as well, and the library staff to see all the cool apps and programs that they're coming up with.
So we should probably meet again one more time, do you think? Just to make sure that everything's dotted and crossed prior to our event? Do you think we should do that? It could even just be a Zoom? Or do we feel like we have enough? Would that be, do you think we can do something like that, Director Stone?
yeah, well, we got our administrative assistant Gabby over there giving us the thumbs up. She is the scheduling queen. So if she says we can do it, we can do it.
Thank you. Just to make sure that I think we're all on the same page before we go live. Okay, thank you, Gabby.
So if I could, because of that, if I could just have the next slide, please, just so I can confirm that part of what we're doing tonight is just hearing those updates, continuing the discussion, and what you just did is provide direction to each other, volunteers and or us, the staff, as necessary. So thank you for doing so. I don't, Elvia, do we need a formal action?
At this time, no. It's
Okay.
just taking the guidance that was given during this item, so no further action is needed.
Very good. Thank you.
Oh,
Please.
and I did not mention where the in and out truck may be. So we're trying to have it placed at the parking lot by the tennis courts, in between the tennis courts and the band shell. I guess you could think of it there as the first choice, but they just wanted to make sure their semi truck could fit back there. So
Get there early. All right, thank you. Okay, next agenda item, Board of Library Trustees participation in and or support of Glendora Public Library's Friends Foundation Night on the Plaza, as requested by Trustees Landman and Chu.
well, I was just thinking, no rush, and if it's too short of notice, we could always perhaps ponder it for a different year if we needed to, but just to have a little basket that's not too costly or anything. It would be like the contents under $200, and just have like as an opportunity basket, just to have our presence be at Night on the Plaza. No pushing, but you know, if it's like too short of notice, that's fine. I understand there's a lot going on. So that's all.
I am in support of that.
And I probably would want to come up with like a theme. Did you come up with a theme, Brianna? Or
I did not come up with a theme.
okay. Do we need to discuss the theme now, or could we just come up with something and
Well, there is no other regular meeting between now and Night on the Plaza. So either we need, if it's going to be more, if it's going to be a quorum of you that is talking about that, we need to do it here or schedule a special meeting.
Do we need to make it public as in what we are putting into the basket, or like,
Yeah,
is that
contents.
what needs to be discussed tonight?
Well, again, it depends on how many of you are assigning to make that decision. So if you want
Okay.
that decision to be made by a quorum of the board, then that discussion should be public at either tonight or at a special meeting. If you also have the option of assigning fewer than a quorum, so 2 or 1 trustees to work on that on behalf of everyone. But right, but those discussions should not be happening outside of the public meeting space.
May I make a suggestion, since Trustees Landman and Chu are the board representatives to the Friends Foundation? Would it be appropriate if you two work together on providing a basket on behalf of the board? And you could let us know how much monetarily we would have to kick in. Does that make sense?
So,
Something like that, where they would go out and they would purchase the items on behalf of the board, create the basket to give as a donation on behalf of the Board of Trustees. But those two can collaborate together to do that as the representatives to the Friends Foundation.
And I would just recommend that in terms of like communicating those plans and how they can, if you're planning to take donations from the other board members, that I would suggest either arranging to work that through the foundation, if they are open to that, or through me or through Gabby, so that you are not conferring offline, even just about that part. So either the foundation or the library can act on that part. Elvia, does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, and I would decide specifically who you're going to be using tonight so that there isn't a lot of back and forth to different people.
Okay.
Janet, is that okay?
Yeah,
If you, yeah.
Or
You're
Brianna, is that
welcome.
okay?
yeah, no, that's
Tomoko?
okay with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome to communicate with me, then I can pass the word along to the rest of the board in terms of what you have put together and what their contributions would be, if that's how it unrolls for you guys.
Thank you.
Are you
Yes.
both okay with that on behalf of the board doing that extra work?
Yeah, and
Thank you.
the $200 thing, that's like the cap. So it doesn't have to be, that number. Obviously, it could be less.
Yeah.
Just wanted to bring that up. So.
Okay, so Director Stone, if you're okay with that, if they go
absolutely.
through
I-
you
I
and then
w-
you'll
abs-
let us know.
Yes, definitely want to comply with the Brown Act, and I'm happy to be in service in any way I can to make that happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, then.
I want to make sure that other aspects of this particular discussion are covered as needed or not, but with intent. Brianna had also mentioned some other ways of supporting Night on the Plaza, specifically through appearances by the Board of Library Trustees. There's a report on that in your packet. I'm happy to go over any of that. I just wanted to make sure that if it was intended to discuss that, it didn't just get dropped unintentionally.
Yeah, so I guess I will cover that part. I had a conversation with Maggie about having the trustees have a presence at the event for Night of the Plaza. So a lot of us will be there, but it would also be nice to show our formal thanks to the people attending, so they know that as much as the foundation appreciates them, we also do appreciate them as well. And so there are two opportunities for us to make an appearance. One opportunity on the onstage in-person right before the wine card game that they will be having. And then the second opportunity will be for their live YouTube broadcast, which I had done last year. Super simple. I just went on stage and had a very informal conversation with Brandy. So in both options, I suggest that whoever is present, that we all go up on stage, we introduce ourselves, and then have one person designated to say the thanks. And then whoever else wants to make a comment, go ahead. And if we're doing the one for in person in front of all of the attendees, I did want to suggest that we show not a slideshow, but at least like one PowerPoint slide. And I made an example. These are not set in stone, but these are some pictures that I've taken over this past year at the events at the library that the Friends Foundation has helped fund. And so I think it would be a great idea to show them with the money that they have kindly donated to the Friends Foundation, this is what they have helped make happen. So yeah, that's the idea. And if you guys want to take a look, I will also show it to the camera. This is what it looks like. But yeah, you guys can pass those around.
If we could also offer those to anyone sitting in the audience who would like to see them as well.
Yes, if anyone in the audience would like to see them, you're more than welcome to.
Brianna, this is a great idea. I love this.
Thank you.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
I do
to
too.
share.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I
thank
think
you.
it's always nice for donors to see the tangible, like what has happened in the past year as a form of a thank you and just showing them that their money is being put to good use.
Well, I'll be there that night on the plaza, as will you.
Mhm.
You'll be there too.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Are you guys open to stepping on stage?
I have,
I am as well.
yeah.
Okay. should we, I don't, were you able to speak with Maggie about these options at all, or?
Yes, I was also able to speak with digital media specialist Greg.
Uh-huh.
So a couple things I just want to pass along about these opportunities. First of all, the live YouTube broadcast commitment, there's a lot of overlap, but either of these commitments, things you need to keep in mind if you want to go ahead with this are that you'll need to be very mindful of the time constraints of the whole program, and be responsive to a stage manager in terms of coordinating a timely appearance. And that the city will not be stage managing that part. So also in terms of the YouTube broadcast, understanding that it is truly live streaming. So if you are committing to doing that, there is no 7-second delay. And there are no second takes. So there's no sort of do-over option for that. Really for the wild card introduction, it's very similar in terms of some of the sort of things to be aware of as far as time constraints and stage management, and just be aware that that does mean that there will be a crowd of live people there that you will be speaking to. So just wanted to make sure ahead of time before you committed yourselves that all of that was made clear. Those were just some of the recommendations that Greg had in terms of awareness. But there was I touched base with actually several people just to make sure that there was, again, no sort of unexpected Brown Act or any other sort of ethics or optics considerations, and everybody green lighted it. So it's good.
Perfect.
Well, trustees Landman and Chu, you guys are doing the heavy lifting for us as the representatives to the Friends Foundation. Would you two be okay with speaking on our behalf on Night of the Plaza?
That's no problem. And will you go up there as well?
Yes, I would love to. Yeah, but if you guys would put.
Do you know if we are able to do both? When I spoke to Maggie, it sounded like we could do both the YouTube and the live on stage.
I certainly didn't get any messages to the contrary. Ultimately, I would say that is the foundation's call, and you never know what might change between now and Night on the Plaza in terms of their flow. So I'm sure that they would welcome that interest and be very frank with you if they were scripting something different for the evening. But there's nothing on our end that would prevent you from doing both.
Okay, so if we approve of this plan, then I will reach out to Maggie and let her know what we voted on, and then work together with her to make sure that we have a proper, the timing and everything.
Is this request?
So
this
at this
require
point, you
motion?
are assigning tasks and giving action, and you will be reporting back to Janet. So I'm going to open that up for a motion in a second. And that is for Vice President Chu and Trustee Landman to work together on the opportunity basket for Night on the Plaza and speak at the Night on the Plaza.
I made a motion.
Mhm.
I'll second.
Thank you. And I'm going to open that up to a vote. And I'll do a roll call. Trustee Landman,
Aye.
Vice President Chu,
Aye.
and President Tolan.
Aye.
And that passes 302. Thank you.
Thank you. Next agenda item, unfinished business. The self-evaluation of the Board of Library Trustees for fiscal year 2021 through 2022. Director Stone, would you please give us your report?
Absolutely. Next slide, please. So very briefly, at the April meeting of the trustees, it was decided that staff were to act as aggregators of self-evaluations of the trustees. Those were to be completed individually with the goals of the Board of Library Trustees to be used as guidelines. And the library director, I was to provide instructions, including the library mission statement. And that process was followed, and evaluations were received from 4 trustees. And those are included in the packet for your discussion as you would choose. Next slide, please. So our recommendation is simply that you review that report that includes the trustees' individual self-evaluations and file.
Thank you, Director Stone. May I have a motion to review and file the report as presented?
I'll make a motion.
Wait, should we talk about it? Can we talk about it?
If you would like to.
Okay. I think there was I read through everyone's evaluations and I think there was a consensus that we do want to have some sort of strategic meeting, planning meeting of some sort outside of our normal board meeting, monthly board meeting. So is that should we make that like a regular annual thing or like as needed or which is technically how it is? Or is there any steps that we should do does anyone want to have one in the near future or?
I'd like to wait until our new trustee joins next month, right? Obviously, to get her input.
Okay. And then, oh yeah, and Erica, if you have any comments on that?
No comments, but I agree. We should get Carrie in present as well. So that's a good idea.
And then also, I don't know about you guys, but I was thinking that maybe it'd be beneficial for us to have one standard format that we would all follow. We all followed by responding back to the goals that we have as trustees, but maybe having something that everyone fills out the same way. It'd be easy for us to compare our evaluations.
That's a good point. I was noticing the
Differences,
which is fine. It was just
Yeah,
different
yeah.
mind processes, but or thought processes. So I don't know who would design it necessarily.
Maybe next year we'll work together with Janet to have something that's more not formal. Formal is not the word that I'm looking for, but more yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Sure, yes, we can, we will make a note to put that on the agenda planning calendar and see what we can find in terms of examples for you to choose among or hybridize as you would like.
Perfect. That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
And I made a motion to approve it earlier.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Great. We will open up for a vote. And I will do a roll call. Trustee Landman,
Aye.
Vice President Chu,
Aye.
and President Toland.
Aye.
That passes 3-0-2. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, the next agenda item, new business, orientation planning for the new board members. Director Stone.
Yes, thank you.
Please.
This is new business only in that we do it, every year, but we haven't discussed it this season. So next slide, please. Okay, so quick summary of the basic elements. There we have the established 4 steps to welcoming a new board member, which are of course at your discretion to keep or change however you would like. We do orientation meetings. We offer each trustee as they come in a paper copy of the library created board member orientation handbook, which varies roughly 150 to 200 pages worth of materials. And we also have an internal checklist for new board members. Next slide, please. So prior discussion when we've brought this process to you before included the idea of mentoring or guiding by the continuing trustees, increased follow-up from staff after orientation, adding documents and coverage regarding the history, Brown Act expectations raised by the bylaws, and finally welcome extended by officers and staff of the library. Next slide, please. So currently, the documents that we update in that notebook, among others, include the library's goals and objectives, the library's strategic framework, sections of the approved budget, the organizational chart, board meetings, dates, board documents such as the roles and responsibilities, and the bylaws. Next slide, please. And then when we present those documents, we also go over verbally some of the role of the education code. We verbally go through the strategic framework, the budget, of the library's portion of the budget and how it fits into the city structure. Brown Act and public records concepts from the city's board and commission member handbook, and key documents and guidelines about the operations of the library, such as the collection development policy. So those are the things, among the things that are pulled out for specific discussion. Next slide, please. And then we have been lately, in addition to the 200 or so pages of the notebook, also been adding lately the 4 steps document, welcoming a new board member. We also have been including our detailed library statistics sheet that you get a couple of times a year in the board meetings, provide information on how to get to the library's most updated policies online. We provide the oversight document that was brought to the trustees and city council a few years ago, and also information on the proposed budget, as much as that is available during the orientation process. So since these have become kind of regular things that we have been adding, the administrative assistant Gabby Thompson and I are working on actually integrating many of these into the master notebook, which might make it a little bit thicker, but at least it'll be they'll be part of this the standard meeting and sort of curriculum that we go through on the library's behalf with each board member. Next slide, please. And then on the city side, there's also some other stuff that's happening. There's a more formal Brown Act training than our quick introduction that we offer. There's ethics training and conflict of interest filing information that comes from the city. Next slide, please. So this is your opportunity just to review these orientation elements and provide us direction if needed.
Trustees have any questions? I will be following up with her, our new trustee, as the for the onboarding process, right? I'll follow up with her after our first meeting, as stated in these slides. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next agenda item. New business, Board of Trustees workflow for fiscal year 2023. Director Stone. would you
Yes.
please?
Next slide, please. So just a few reminders about the workflow. It covers July through June. It's just maintained throughout the fiscal year. It's kind of a living document. It's included in each monthly packet with a recommendation to receive and file as part of the consent calendar. It is informational only. It's not necessarily, the items listed there do not necessarily generate agendized action items. It's just things that often come before the board or for the board to consider or for us to report on, not necessarily take action on. And then we did this year provide a detailed policy status update given in February, since one of the major roles of the library board is to review the city's policy, the library's administrative policies. Next slide, please. So because that has been on hold for a while, I just wanted to update you a little bit about those, about the policy work we've been doing since February. We have been continuing to assess the needs that have been arising from the municipal codes, from ordinances and or city policies, from our legal counsel, from human resources, and from risk management concerns, and trying to incorporate those in the policies that we're planning to bring to you that we described in detail in February. We have had some new city hall staff come on board. And so in some of those cases with those policies that have some citywide elements, we have taken some time to go back and bring them up to speed on what it is we're looking at so that we can get their feedback before we bring those policies to you. So there's been a little bit of regrouping in terms of the consulting we're doing with city staff. And then we've also been doing some staff training on the policies as well. Next slide, please. So we've also been doing some other kinds of work since February on the policies that this is all going on behind the scenes, even though we're not coming to you with updates on specific ones yet. Yet in 2022, there is a strategic plan item for the city to update the administrative manual policy manual, and and so we have been preparing for that as a department, since all the departments are going to be participating in that update. And then we have also been working with administrative services on the library specific elements of the quote unquote purchasing system ordinance that's been introduced to council, just went to council for the first time on June 14th. So there's been a lot of policy related work happening behind the scenes. It just hasn't produced things for us to bring to you to consider for updates. Within the realm of working of all that, we do hope to bring policies back to you starting in the first quarter of this coming fiscal year. So in the next, hopefully 3 months, you will have the first of one of those 4 policies we talked about in February before you for your consideration. Next slide, please. Before I go into the recommendation, I just wanted to mention a couple of other things about the workflow. Let's see here. In terms of the strategic responses review, that came up as part of the self-evaluation, that interest in that. I think there are a couple of things in the workflow that touch on that. One is we have seen formerly in June a strategic framework update, and I'm recommending that we don't do one of those in June and then do a year-end fiscal year wrap-up of that the very next month, that we just do one after the fiscal year has closed. So I'm recommending that one show up now in July or whatever the first meeting is of the new fiscal year. So that's a change. Also, there's some other things that I've already made notes on for the next month's inclusion of the fiscal year workflow. So just to illustrate that it is a living document, I know that we will be returning to you with an overdue fee consideration. That there's that sort of movement in the public library world to do away with overdue fees. And we've come to you several times with reports on that. Well, we'll be coming back. So you'll be seeing that probably on the next version of this workflow. Also, the presentation on the communications plan that, that I know Brianna especially is so interested in. We're going to make sure that gets on there, even if we don't know what month it's going to happen. And also, as that purchasing system becomes finalized by council, then that may be appropriate for us to have an agenda item about that as well. So I may create a section of the workflow that just talks about things we don't know what month they're going to happen, but we want you to be assured that we know that they're still on the radar, especially things like that communications plan. And the other thing about the strategic framework, I mentioned there are a couple of those things. There's been interest in having that separate strategic framework meeting. And not only have I heard your request that we wait until the new board member comes on, but also I would recommend again that we'll have more success with that after we know more about the facility. So those are just a few, that's one of those documents that changes fast and furiously. And between the time I wrote the report and now, that's some updates for you. So anyway, our recommendation for tonight is simply to receive and file this first iteration of it, and then you'll see future iterations in each packet. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Stone. Well, we'll take that recommendation. May I have a motion to receive and file?
I motioned it.
Yes.
And I seconded it.
Yes.
Very good.
Let me open that for a vote. I'll take a roll call. We're missing on President Tolan's vote. Thank you, Trustee Landman.
Aye.
Vice President Chu.
Aye.
President Tolan.
Aye.
That carries 302. Thank you.
Right, moving on to the next agenda item. Discuss the cancellation of regular Board of Library Trustees meetings for the 2022 summer and holiday seasons. Sorry, Director Stone.
Thank you. Okay, next slide, please. So just a little review of where we are currently, the city council regular meetings have been canceled for the second half of July and the first half of August this year. The other boards and commissions are basically deciding independently which meetings, if any, they are going to cancel. And just a reminder that last year, the Board of Library Trustees canceled their August meeting. Next slide, please. And then on the holiday season side, coming up in the winter, the previous action is that the Board of Library Trustees canceled the December meeting last year. Next slide, please. So some things to consider. I knew you'd want to know what was on tap for July and August if you're considering canceling. So here's a list of some of the typical agenda items, everything from the election of officers to just to check in on any new trustees that have come on board. Next slide, please. And just to review that, excuse me, I should have said in 2021, I apologize, the slide date is wrong. In 2021, when the August meeting was canceled, what we just simply did was take those items and move them into the September workflow. So July, August, and September, there's a lot of fluidity in there in terms of those agenda items, and it's pretty easy to move those around as needed, depending on whether or not you want to cancel anything. And I did check in with the city clerk's team, and neither July nor August is more problematic than the other as far as canceling or keeping it on the books. Next slide, please. Again, on the holiday side, in the winter, the dates that as it would roll out, if we kept the Board of Library Trustees meeting as regularly scheduled, that would be Monday, December 19th. And then Christmas Eve falls the following Saturday, and the following Monday is when the Christmas holiday is actually observed. I did check back, and ever since 2015, the regular December meeting of the trustees has been canceled. And just a reminder that special meetings can be called if there are pieces of business that have to be conducted and the regular meeting has not been scheduled. Next slide, please. So given the options for holding or not holding meetings in July, August, and December, we just wanted you to provide direction to staff.
Any of the trustees have any comments here?
I'm okay with canceling December, and I am okay with whatever we decide for August.
I'm here all summer and I'm
Yeah.
committed, and this is an important year. So I'd like to keep our meetings this summer if that's okay with staff and the library director and the city. I personally would like to continue these as normal.
Yeah, December elimination would be great. If August is eliminated this time, like last year, that's fine, unless we wanted to do a special meeting or to just keep it. It's okay. For July, I think July is a very important
I do too.
month because that's
Yeah.
the first meeting for the new
Mhm.
member.
New trustee. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with keeping August as well.
July, August, September, October,
And then omit,
November.
yeah, and then omit
And
December.
then, so are we saying we want to cancel our December meeting in line with city council and
Yes.
So we of course will manage whatever kind of meeting schedule you choose. You did just a moment ago mention staff, and I just do want to say that that the only thing I probably neglected to put in the report is just simply that there is an opportunity here to offer the city clerk's team a break, and that's part of what the boards and commissions consider when they look at the city council schedule, is whether or not that offers. And I'm trying to offer that in terms of the city clerk, not like point to them and say, decide on, but I, since I didn't put it in the report, I do feel like I need to voice that that's part of what the consideration is because they handle so many meetings every single month these days, now that they run them all. I just wanted to mention that part.
By the time we have our next meeting in July, when we onboard our new trustee, will the other commissions calendars already be set for the summer and the holiday calendar? Will that already been set?
So right now, we do have community services has canceled their August meeting. Planning actually canceled next month. And trying to think of what else. Water will be meeting in July. So as of right now, we do have 2 boards that have canceled their meetings for the
In-
summertime.
In the summer.
Mhm.
Okay, well, maybe
Would it be
August.
problematic to keep the July meeting just because that will be our new trustees' first meeting?
No, that would be fine. Yeah.
Could we keep
Sure,
that?
Sure.
And then should we fall in line with the other boards and commissions about eliminating August?
It would be a good time for Carrie to catch up if she had any questions and everything.
Mhm.
What do you
Maybe
think?
good.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Are we okay then? We'll have,
At the start of school.
we'll
in
keep
August.
July and cancel August.
Right, with the understanding that should there be any pressing issues that need to be discussed, we can call a special meeting.
Yes,
Perfect.
yes,
Absolutely.
thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. Okay,
We'll do a motion and second to cancel the December and August meetings. Thank you. That is a motion by trustee Landman, as a second by Vice President Chu. And I'll take a roll call vote. Trustee Landman,
Aye.
Vice President Chu,
Aye.
President Toland.
aye,
That carries 302. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you, Director Stone. Okay. Any board or staff closing comments tonight? Do any of the trustees or staff have any questions or comments?
I just have a brief one. It won't be long, but at the close of the first year being on the board, I want to thank both President Toland and Vice President Chu for helping me and being so enthusiastic and, you know, sharing the vision to celebrate the 50th at 140. So I really appreciate that. And also I appreciate everybody in the process. So Director Stone and all the library staff, I appreciate all of your support and your help. And I've had so much fun. You know, the year has flown by. So I cannot even believe that the movie in the park is coming up in like a few weeks. So that's shocking. So thank you. And I totally want to thank the city clerk's office for all of your help and wisdom and all your support. So thank you very much. It's been very enjoyable this first year.
Thank you. I think we also find it really enjoyable.
Yeah,
It
we
is
enjoy
very
having you
fun.
part of our
Yes,
team.
and it is a privilege to serve on this board. And thank you for all of the support. So with that, we will close tonight's meeting. The meeting is adjourned at 9:58 p.m.